Mystery of China's 2,600-year-old paper armor. Putting paper armor to the test. For the test, they made the paper armor both with and without the resin. The paper used for the armor was about 13 millimeters thick. They used a variety of weapons against the armor including swords, bows, an 18th-century flintlock pistol and a 19th-century .45 revolver. In almost all cases the paper armor without resin either did just as well as the steel armor or outperformed it. The paper armor did more poorly with blunt force attacks. The paper armor also performed poorly against the 19th-century revolver. Overall though, the paper armor proved to be just as effective as the steel armor. For this reason, it was declared at least plausible that the ancient Chinese used such an unusual type of armor. One problem that they noted with this idea is that the paper armor rapidly disintegrated when it got wet or if it was subjected to repeated blows. This suggests that paper armor, if used, would have been limited to situations where the armor getting wet or being used excessively would have been unlikely. 2,600-year-old paper armor. Greg Martin, an expert on ancient armor, told Mythbusters that the Chinese used paper armor as early as 600 BC, which may have been injected with shellac or some other resin. He said that this armor was more effective in some ways than the steel armor used at the time. The time period for the use of this armor predates the traditional date for the invention of paper, but the invention of paper armor, regardless of the date, is still an interesting idea to consider. To test this idea, Mythbusters set up a test to compare the strength, durability and freedom of movement of paper armor versus historical Chinese steel armor used around time paper armor is said to have been used. The early invention of paper. China is the civilization responsible for the invention of paper as we know it. Its invention is usually attributed to a court official by the name of Cai Lun who is said to have made the first paper from mulberry fiber in about the year 105 AD. However, there is recent evidence that hemp paper may have been invented earlier, closer to 100 BC. Paper eventually replaced the earlier forms of written media which had been used in China such as bamboo, tortoise shells, and silk. It was a more convenient writing medium than bamboo which was heavy and less expensive than silk.